And we are live. Welcome back for another Thursday High Vibe conversation. I'm your host, 𝗟𝗶𝗩𝗂, and with me today are the lovely High Vibe women with heart. We're here to talk to you about language today, and it's amazing how our conversation topics are always something that I'm navigating at that particular moment, or maybe I just latch onto it and think of the thing that I'm ruminating about. But they're all super relatable, and as our previous posts this week are any indication, if they're any indication, lack language is really just stories we tell ourselves to what we think should be true, or what we believe is true, and it might not actually be what's actually happening. It's a lot of projection that goes on. At least in my case, it's a lot of projection. But I'm going to start with you today, Linda. In your book, you talk about the seven sayings,
lies,
if you will, seven lines, the lies that we tell ourselves.
Yeah, 7 lies. Yep.
That's so. Why don't you tell us what they are? Let's talk about this lack language even further.
Go to my profile. Look at my post from Wednesday. They're listed there. I didn't bring them in. If you've ever heard yourself say, I can't, I think, I guess, I have to, I hope, I'll try, you're in lack language, and that means you're in lack mentality as well. So picking just one to work on, the one that you hear yourself say, it's so much easier. I've had clients that don't hear any of those, and I catch them, and that is just hard for them. So start with something that you say, maybe you say often, maybe you even hear it often. Start with that one. That's the easiest way, and then replace it. So I can't be shifts to I can. I don't know shifts to I know, because at the level of our soul, we know everything. It's there. Let it come up. Gina, you have something?
I'm tempted to go get my journal, because I was just journaling about this this week about
cool.
I've been working with my kids about saying, I don't know how to do it.
That's right.
I don't know what it is. I don't know where to find it. And I always come back with, well, what have you tried? Or where have you looked? Tell me what you've done already.
Nice.
Because as a coach, that you can't really triage a problem until you understand where the person has already been, what they've already thought, what they've already tried. And it's frankly a waste of everybody's time to try and fix the I don't know by just blindly going in with all of the things you think are going to solve the problem.
Right.
And so just really encouraging them not to default to I don't know and throw up their hands and then expect someone else to just fix it for them.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, that's where a lot of lack language comes, is wanting somebody else to come in and rescue you or have the magical answer. And we're all just humans. And most of the time, there's not one person with all of those magical answers.
Unless you run into a narcissist. They're good at that when they're in love bombing mode. They'll get you real dependent on them, right?
Yeah.
And I love that you said that you ask them what they've tried so far, as opposed to I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week, and he was very quick to be like, I've tried everything under the sun and nothing's working. And it was just such a blanketed statement that I was like, well, let's talk about all these things that you've tried so far. What are they?
Right.
Where are they? Who are they? Let's dive into all the things. And it didn't go much further than that, because that person was not ready and willing, as John Chapelier would say, to accept that there were other possibilities out there, that there were other things that he could be doing to change the situation. And so, I love that you said you asked them, what have you tried so far?
Yeah.
Jenny, we often talk a lot about with our group, but you specifically, you love talking about the things that you get to do. Like we
Oh,
get to, we choose to. So
yeah.
how does lack language play into your journey with that?
Thank you, Shell. Yes, as Terry and Linda teaches, like I get to in, difference to using the language of I have to, I should, we should on ourselves so often. For me, all of those choices that I am making in how I speak and also in the storytelling that I have going on about who I am, my self-image, making those decisions consciously is about manifesting my worth in my life. Because when I use the words that I have to or I should, I'm speaking from a place of feeling like I'm in debt. And really, when I realize that I get to receive in my life. That's speaking from a place of worthy. I get to open up. I mean, as a coach also, we can sit there and say all the obvious things, like a lot of people know what's good for them. So we get to dive down to the point where we know what's good for us and we don't always open up to receive what is good. And we get to become really curious as to what is that about. And also what's coming up for me is that in the storytelling that I have going on about who I am, in my life, I have incorporated other people's words about who I am into my own story. So I get to really look at that and see what of this is from me. What am I keeping? And I had conversations with two. It's so interesting how there's like a theme for the day. And I had two wonderful conversations with clients about this today. And the first thing is that we become aware. Like we said, we have those patterns and we don't even think about it. But becoming aware, we can now take it one direction, the right direction, one step at the time. And when I catch myself having this story going on that's not from me or using these words that are not, serving me, instead of punishing myself or being mad at myself, I ask my clients, I encourage them to simply place their hand on their heart and say, thank you. Thank you to me for becoming aware. And now I choose a healthier path.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
I love all of the things that you just shared, and I got so in tune to listening to what you were sharing that I forgot to pop you bigger on the screen. So my apologies for keeping you small when I want you to shine and share your voice bold and big and proud. And sorry, Stina and Linda, for I think I did the same thing before too. We're trying this new layout. And we get to play around with it. So get used to it. But thank you for sharing all the ways that you've helped your clients get back into that abundance mind frame and change the way that they receive what they know they want to do. I don't want to say ought to do, should do, have to do, but what they know to be true for them.
Yes, and what they get to enjoy. This is so much about, and Linda, this is so much about pleasure, right? This is so much about
pleasure.
The joy of things. And when one of my clients were walking out, we were just like coming back to the focus of, this is not another thing for you to do.
Right.
This is about the eyes that you have on yourself. It's about perspective and having those compassionate eyes of yours on yourself.
Right.
And you do get to receive good things.
And I'll take it to the next level. It's choice. It all comes down to choice. And you can choose whatever, right? And it, like Jenny used, like, in the right direction, use the word right, and it's like, yeah, it's not even like right or wrong. It's the direction you choose to go, not the right direction or the wrong direction. It's choice, which John taught us, when we had John 𝗟𝗶₻ on about, there's three things, there's this, and this, right? When it comes down to, and it all boils down to, we have choice. Right? It's a concept. We were thinking, because I think when I talked to him, he mentioned yeah, we have choices. And it's like, it actually just boils down to one, which the soul works in onesies, right? We have choice. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. Yeah.
Should I muscle test with Stina real quick? The try and the best?
Sure.
Okay. If you guys can see her arm. Okay. So say try. Okay. See her arm's going down. Say best, or I'll do my best.
I'll do my best.
I can't get her down. And she can lift a lot of weight, and I easily got her down on the other. So her electricals went weak when she said try. It's just that negative of a word energetically. It's lack language. And best keeps your electricals just really, really running strong. So if you go on YouTube and you put in a search for heart-to-heart hugs, you'll see my husband, 𝗟𝗶H𝗱𝗲𝗂𝘁𝗂𝘁 and I, at a younger age, I'm flirting with my husband, and I'm muscle testing different words, and I do test him on try. He's a big, strong man, right? Got him down easily. Try and best. Do my best. It's really interesting how that works.
Something that's kind of similar to that in a lot of human design teachings, because everyone has their own basically signature energy and aura,
right?
That something is correct for you.
I like it.
And so it's not right or wrong, it's correct for you. And I have found, Linda said hope was one of the words that was lack language. And for me, that's not.
It's like, wait, what? No. And the point on it is what makes it lack language is that you're not taking action on the hope. So you get on a desert island and you're in hope that someone's going to rescue you. You don't just sit there and hope. You lay shit out on the beach.
Yeah.
You set fires at night. You do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then that's not lack. That's action.
Yeah.
Right? So that, and dream. John and I just had a conversation about that this morning. Dream. That's also lack. A dream without action, a dream without a plan, you're just sitting in lack again. Yeah. What were you going to say?
For me in human design, that's my motivation. So it's part of my chart is actually called hope. So for me, hope is about the feeling of hope is it's more faith than hope.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
more when I say hope, I hope you have an amazing day. It feels so good to me to say that to somebody. And having hope is keeping my eyes I want to say above the horizon. That might be a Christian.
It's almost like direct service to others. Keep going.
Yeah. And just I think it's important for everybody to notice what are the emotion words and what are the feeling words that feel really authentic and aligned for you. Learning is really exciting for me. So I know one of the things I wrote down as an alternative to I don't know is I'm learning. So if my kid comes to me, instead of saying, I don't know the answer to this, they could say, I'm learning the answer to this question. I'm learning how to use this. I'm learning how to do this. And it keeps you curious and open. Like Jenny was saying, that's what reminded me of it, is staying open to possibilities, to new things. And when my kids say, I don't know how to do this because I've never done this before, I was helping my daughter use a pretty crappy government weather website. And she was like, well, I don't know how to do this. I've never used this website before. And I go, neither have I, honey. So, just because you haven't done something before doesn't mean you can't learn. And that is how we learn. So if it's your first time doing something, I find it really helpful to tell myself, of course you don't know how to do this yet. You're learning. And
step out of judgment. We're trained judgment.
Yeah.
We're all imprinted.
Yeah. On the power of words, I don't remember who it was that said, if I wake up in the morning and tell myself I can, or I wake up and tell myself I can't, both times I'm right.
Ooh,
And I remember on LinkedIn when I was not yet posting myself,
okay.
I was watching my friends and connections doing all these amazing shares that really, changed things for me. I was so in awe of them. And I remember that there were a time when I was telling myself that, oh, I could never do that. They are so awesome. Look at them. Wow, they are so brave. And I remember that one day I woke up and I told myself, I am that person
Oh,
who shares it my way. I am that person who uses my voice and speak my truth. And it was that very day that I shared my first post.
oh, was it? Nice
Oh,
breakthrough
yes,
story.
it is. And I did bring some other ways of reframing, if that's helpful.
Yeah.
So words that we tell ourselves, they're going to think I'm a fraud.
Sure.
I'm going to do my best, and what they think is none of my business.
Yep.
I can't do this. I am learning this. What will others think of me? What do I think of myself?
Stop.
I'm afraid, or I'm brave, right? I'm not strong enough, or I am building my strength. During the pandemic, I was stuck at home, or I was safe at home.
Nice.
I am too
Oh,
old.
you were safe at home.
I'm too old to learn this, or I decide the timing of my life.
Powerful.
I'm a failure, or I'm learning something new.
Nice.
I'm nervous to attend this meeting, or I am eager to do my best. And this last one is really interesting. I'm sorry I'm late, or thank you for waiting.
Beautiful.
There's options.
Yeah, and thank you for your patience. There's another one we talked about a little while back too. Another line. Yeah, I love it.
Well, that just reminded me too, Jenny, you said something about failure. And I recently realized when I was journaling that I knew this before. I really like certainty. We all really like certainty, and our brains really want certainty. And so I think that's what drives us to the lack, is because it's not like factually obvious in front of us, slapping us in the face, definite. So then we think like, we go to I don't know, and I don't have, and I must be a fraud, and the negative thought patterns. And what I realized was that failure is a very, very reliable, consistent, and certain. So
That's huge.
Yeah.
We all like failure, don't we, girls?
Yeah, because what's the best way to have certainty is to do nothing, say nothing, change nothing, just to stay still and not change anything and not learn anything. So if you want to be certain, the best way to be certain is to just fail
and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
It keeps you here too.
Yeah.
And safety.
And safety and certainty. And like, instead of venturing into the unknown, which is always risky, because in the unknown is unknown things and uncertain things.
Which can be dangerous. You learned that when you grew up.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to do something and you touched something hot. Whoa.
Yeah. So there's a different kind of resilience. Like there's the resilience that you get from like just a lot of shit happening to you in your life and you have to overcome it to survive. That's like survival resilience. And then there's like success resilience. That's really cool.
That is
survival
really cool.
resilience.
Yeah,
Success resilient.
Next book.
Yeah, because if you want to actually have a lot of success, then you have to experience a lot of failure trying to get to success, not the failure of inaction and the failure of doing nothing and the failure of lack.
Right, we don't look at that as failure. That's a safety.
Yeah.
We don't even think of it that way.
Right. But then like the risk is, what if I do my best and it doesn't work? Well, if you're actually in an abundance mindset and heading in that direction, like Jenny was saying, then you can keep learning. it's fine that it doesn't work out, because then you do the next step.
Yeah.
You just look at what's the next right step, what's the next correct step for me.
Right. And back to duality, abundance, lack, that's still in duality. It's still in judgment. It's all about noticing and then shifting. It's not about judging and wanting to, lack word right there, wanting to be in abundance, striving to be in abundance. You know, I got some hero out there that they're in abundance. I want to be like them. It's like, who are you? And a lot of us don't know who we are. And guess what? That's a great place to be, because all the more, like, you have no other choices, right? All the more, it's just decide who you are in this moment. Who do you decide to be in this moment with what you know and with what you have, and be okay with it? It's just so huge.
I think that's also why I dialogue with my kids. When they say, I don't know, like we started talking about, and Jenny and Shell, you were all talking about how you would dialogue with somebody too. If you say, I don't know, what have you tried? And I specifically will say tried, because if they're saying, I don't know, then that is like a bridge word. Because even if it is a little bit more lack, like they're kind of in that energy. So if you ask them what they tried, you're more likely to get an answer than, you know, what have you done, right? Because they don't feel like they've done it. They don't feel like they've gotten it.
Well, that's really interesting, because I was going to say, what have you done your best to do so far to move forward? But that's almost kind of judgmenty.
So like, what have you tried gets an easy answer when they're in that energy, and it doesn't make them wrong. Like, we can have a conversation later about, you know, saying I don't know feels really disempowering, and it doesn't keep you going. But in the moment, I think it can be really helpful to have the dialogue and the conversation and the exchange, which I think is what keeps you out of judging it and making it like the duality of I'm in lack.
Yeah.
But just to relate to it and see like what's really going on here.
Yep. And all words have their flips. So it's like, you can say the word need and not be in lack language. Like, that's just the human nature. You know, we've been raised in lack language. So
yeah,
till you work through the 7 lies, you're gonna be using it in lack for sure. Yeah. And then it's like, what do I need? You know, like when you get to that place of using a word like I need, what do I need? And it's like, then you can really tap into your emotions or whatever. Emotions are, it's important to work through our emotions. It's also important to, you can even just like open your arms out, you know, like ballerina style, and allow the emotion to pass through you. Did somebody make a comment? Or?
Oh, yeah. Shell just want to make sure Dora had a chance.
Yeah, Dora, jump.
I was waiting for my segue there to bring her on. There were so many moments where I was like, let's bring Dora in. So Dora, thank you for joining us today. Nina and Linda, you shared some amazing points about learning who you are and the resiliency. And I think Dora can speak to a lot of that. Especially as she was navigating her burnout and learning to not be a people pleaser and do all the things. I don't want to share Dorit's story. We all know it. We love it. But I want Dorit to be able to share her experiences with it. So let's bring you on to the center.
Up and front center. Yeah, well, I was just so fascinating when you put Linda and Stina Marie together. Things just happen. They could have their own 24-hour podcast, I'm sure. It would not be a dull moment.
No, she can have one all by herself, trust me. She has
whatsoever.
Thank you.
I don't know what to say. I mean, you guys said it all. Yeah. Yeah, well, we're talking about what we say to ourselves. Is that the topic?
We're talking about the lack language and the stories that we often tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure where to go in here.
Well, client work, you're a coach, you've definitely drilled down for people if they've said something that in your mind's eye you picked up, hey, they're in lack. That's a negative, right? Get them to more positive.
Oh yeah, of course.
So go for it.
Yeah, when we start telling ourselves that we can't and we shouldn't and all of those negative things, and especially what I used to do, that I have to and I must, and all those force words, to call it that I'm forcing myself into a situation that I think I don't have a choice, but actually I do. So for many years I was living under that prison almost, that I felt that I had to do all those things to be a good member of society, to be a good mother, to be a good wife, to be a good employee. I just needed to put my own feelings and needs aside and just
serve others. I mean,
serve others. Yeah, buckle up and do it.
Here it is, your love language. Serve others, right? And it went into the shadow of your lack language for you.
Yes, it did. It did, and it was such a revelation to me to actually feel that I don't have to. Yeah. Oh, that was such a wonderful day when I was like, what? And it was almost like testing if the ice was secure. You try with the foot and you try with another foot, and is it gonna break? Is this gonna hold? Is this something that people actually do? Can I do this?
Yeah.
And it was so lovely, and learning to say no, and learning to use my language in a positive way for myself, to allow myself to learn, to allow myself to try and fail. That was just awesome. And you guys know that I'm always having this little moment where I'm closing my eyes and I'm saying to myself, I know and I trust. And that's just to give myself the boost of, yeah, I'm here, I'm showing up, and I'm doing my best, and I'm learning each day, and everything that I know today I've tried for the first time. And you can't know something unless you've tried. So you can learn a lot from books, of course, but until you practice it and fail, you're not really learning, you're just knowing. So yeah.
And is it trying and is it failing, or is it doing and doing again? Like it reminds me of babies when they're learning to walk and they fall hard. Sometimes they cry. It depends on, the relationship with mom and baby too. Usually it tends to be the mom, right? And they look back and, there's a really interesting experiment they did with kids with, well, I like to say with, because I've pulled kids out of autism biochemically. I know it's like autistic. Anyways, so they're like crawling to a fake floor. And so all of these babies are crawling. There's a floor all the way across, but it looks like a drop off. So they crawl and then they turn and they look back at their mom. And if their mom makes eye contact with them and doesn't like do anything but just look at them, they crawl across. And the autistic, the little ones will turn, look at mom, and then go back and crawl anyways. And they're not like watching the other kids. It's just been really an interesting experiment. So.
Something's coming up for me, and Linda, I'll see if you catch this. I remember so many times when you have looked at my texts, like posts or things that I want to get out there and for the books. And when you add it, it's like you will see where I am in lack. And it's like the text is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller until it's my truth. And it's so freaking powerful when we are standing in our truth and we're just going boom, boom, boom. And also when talking to clients, when you are in that abundance mindset yourself and you are talking, it's like you're talking into their soul. It's so, so powerful. And you can see the shift instantly when you are telling the truth. So Linda, you want to speak to that? I love that.
Jenny, are you saying that you're when you're doing that, you're using less copy, or I'm not quite catching your point?
Well, it does become less text.
Okay.
Because there are so many words that we put in there out of insecurity.
Oh, and that kind
when
of
we get to the core of things, it's like our truth, and it's so powerful.
Simple, to the point, and
Yes.
bam.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I don't know what else I'd say to it.
Well, I would say, Linda, you're really good at helping us cut through the bullshit of our text. And Stina, you always help me say things better. Like sometimes I'm like, I know exactly what I should be saying, but I don't know how exactly to say it. And so I think it's kind of crazy and exciting that you're both together in this, because for me, like the copy, as Jenny was talking about, and getting through the text, like it's two sides of the same coin, but you both show up differently to help me with it, to help us with it. Like that, cutting through that bullshit, it really just helps us get to like where we need to go and get closer to helping other people that much faster.
Thank you. And I've done books with all you guys, and of course, like the books are coming from, speaking. So, when the human speaks, they're like talking 50 miles, 50 whatever miles a minute. Anyways, we are talking about several different subjects almost all at once. And so in transcription, or even if you guys just like write, like Jenny will write a post and I'll edit or something, this is like super specific to Jenny. I'll just take it there. She'll, and Stina, oh man, you've done that too, have like 3 or almost 3 ideas. Everybody really, it's just a thing. It's a human thing. Even if you're writing, it's like 3 ideas in one freaking sentence. It's like, no, this all can't happen at the same time. So what's the real truth here? What do you really, what's the point that you're choosing to make? You get to make a choice, and sometimes when I'm editing, I'll just make the choice. Sometimes I call you and go, what are you really saying? Right? Yeah. And that's why, like, a clarity session, the way I do them is in non-duality. The soul works in onesies. You only get one. There aren't all these choices to make. It's just one. Allow it to come up. Which one is it? And Stina said something so great the other day about, there's all these decisions, and especially in early entrepreneurship, and it's like, it's not going to be right and it's not going to be wrong. Pick a path. Do it. Yeah. Do it. It's just do it. Right? Yeah. It's huge.
I'm going to pop myself back up here for a second and round us out. I do want to, I want to go to something that Stina, you were talking about earlier about the human design and how like hope for you is a really powerful word as opposed to dream. And that's interesting. You know way more about human design than I do, but like I can say from my own experiences with it, like when I've certainly used the word hope, and like I'll tell somebody like, I hope you have a good day, or like whatever the thing is, and I'll use hope in a sentence. But for me, hope like actually makes me really anxious and uncomfortable when somebody uses it in a sentence to me. Like I don't like it as much. Conversation specifically with my dad sometimes, he'll be like, I hope this works out for you. And I'm like, can you not say that? Like that sounds so like it's not going to happen, or like you don't actually believe that it's going to happen. Yeah. And instead of like encouraging me to do it, and like to that yes, I know you can do it. Stay strong. I know you can do it, would be a more powerful way to say that to me. So when he says the word hope in that sentence, I'm all of a sudden like, nope, what wall, red flag. And I almost like go at him a little bit, even though I know he means well. So it's interesting how you're talking about how the word hope for you really like empowers you, where for me, it like just breaks me down.
Nice. Good comparison. And when she said that about her human design, where I went in my head, because she said it's for her.
Yeah.
It's her. Well, what she's, in my mind, this is, you can tell me right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way. Anyways, what I get out of it is that she's holding space for that to happen. Like it's an energetic gift that she's giving to them, and she certainly isn't using it in a lack way.
It's more like, I believe you'll have a good day.
Oh,
Like if your dad said to you, Shell, like, I really believe this could work out for you. Like that
would sit. I would receive that so much better.
Yeah, like saying that feels really good,
Yeah.
So for me, that's what's behind hope. And when I say hope and I feel hope, it's belief. It's really strong belief.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So if somebody said, I believe you're going to have a nice day, how would we take that as lack language? Because hope, you received Shell as lack language. Not that there wasn't some lack behind it in the first place, coming at you. So, but I'm just wondering, Anne, because but is another lack language, and that is the hard, that's at least for Terry and I, that have been the kind of the peak one.
Well, I don't have an answer right now for the word believe. As Jenny's saying, I trust you will have a nice day. Like that feels complete too. But I do have an issue with the word but, and I overuse it all the time. And I'm working on myself when I speak, especially because I probably used the word, we could have counted. We could have had a counter on this entire time to see how many times I use the word but in a sentence. But when I'm writing, see, I do it so unconsciously. Yeah. And when I'm writing, I'm more particular about it to change all my buts to ands before I hit the enter button. And I do that specifically with my post copy. I do it like in my messaging. Yeah. It's just really hard for me to catch myself in the moment when I'm speaking.
Right.
And it's something that I know that I do because I was programmed and got so used to defending myself.
Absolutely, Shell. Fits your story perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah. I did this, but not and, like, not both are true. It's always been one or the other. And I was always in the wrong, so I had to defend it.
Defend it and clarify. You tend to use but as clarification.
Yes.
I've noticed, which again is like in defense too, but yeah.
And also works really well with my human design of having to inform people about why I do things, but and can still work really well there. And can still really work there. So something that I'm working on, just getting to, like, as I said in the very beginning of this conversation, it's always a topic that really resonates with me. Like I can always find something to relate to about it because there's always some way that I'm going through a lack mindset. There's always something that I'm working to better myself on. Another thing that was coming up for me earlier with the lack language, and I'm not going to pop myself up back into the middle of the thing because we're going back and forth here, and I'm okay being on the side. We were talking about the negative language, and something that I often hear in my head, even if I know that it's not true, is I don't have enough of, or instead of saying I want more of, and now here's how I can get it, and like taking the actions, it's I don't have enough. And it automatically puts me in this mindset of, well, if I don't have it, I can't get it. Like everybody else around me has it. And then I get into like jealousy or resentment.
It's gone.
And I don't want to feel those things. And I know that's not where I want to be, but sometimes it just surfaces and I'm like, nope, let's change that. Like, how do I get to have more of this?
Based on your story, the drill down is you are not enough.
Yes. now I am. And
You are, and that's why you're noticing it so intensely. Yeah, it's really cool.
You always were, and it's like discovering all the gifts that we can give to ourselves. Every time that you find a but, it's like, oh, that's a gift to me. Like I get to change that. That's it's something that we really do get to enjoy.
And I kind of giggle to myself anytime I see especially in text, I giggle when I say it out loud here, especially in this conversation. Every time I use the word but in a sentence, I'm like, oh, I did it again. Kind of like my private chat in the background. Like, oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. And I get to correct it as I go and change those things that I didn't like the first time around, because I'm constantly improving. So I giggle to myself when I see the buts, because every time I correct one in my posts, in the caption, in somebody's message before I hit the send button, and I'm like, I hear Linda in my head. And you get to, like, both can be true. It's not one or the other. And I really I hear your voice telling me like, yes, you get to do this. And it's like my own private little Linda session, but I'm like, I found it. She didn't find it, but I found it.
I love it.
So some powerful lack language today and ways that we can flip the script on that. Anything coming up for anyone else before we head out for the day? And if we all feel complete, then I invite you to join us again next week for another high vibe conversation. I believe we'll be having a guest on with us next week. Is that correct? I think so. The weeks are a blur right now, so I don't know who's coming up when. It's just like a gift of being presented with it right before in the moment. And that's okay. So tune in next week for another conversation. This has been a great discussion on lack language. Can't even say the words. That's how I know we're done. Lack language. And I'm going to say bye for now.
Beep, beep, bye, bye.